Hey there, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Gilmore Sisters. I love Lucy and Olivia. So we'll get into it talking about girl power and like an unusual bright moment in the later seasons for us right after this. La 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 la. Gilmore Sisters.
Gilmore Sisters is a Phoenix Sisters cosplay production and is hosted by the Cereal Box Network.
Dick Jansen is a creepy man who terrorizes an entire town by committing some truly scary and yet oddball crimes. Will the victims ever recover? Will the town? The Mad Gasser Cheerleader of Calhoun County by Carl Witzman is available on Lulu.com. Get this true crime fictionalization on Lulu.com.
All right. Well, I miss you, Crayley. I miss talking about Gilmore Girls with you. I hope our audience has missed us because we missed the audience.
We have, yeah, it was a really busy end of the convention season for me, and Kelly hasn't ended her convention season yet. Sort of.
I think I'm done with it now. I had a little surprise convention to end my season. It was the Dragonfall Gaming Convention in Lake Geneva. Shout out to a little local con. It was super fun. It was run by a fellow cosplayer. Papa Bear Cosplay was one of the organizers, and it was a great smaller con that I hope to see grow. And yeah, just wanted to give a little shout out to the wonderful hospitality of that con. And I won second prize at their first cosplay contest. So you know what?
Yay!
Feeling pretty good about that. So unrelated, but you know what? Yeah, it's been a fun con season. But now that the craziness is starting to die down, we're gonna get back into our regularly scheduled programming. And this week's episode, we are talking about Lucy and Olivia, who came about in, was it season 6 that they first appeared?
I think it's season 7.
It might have been.
Yeah, no, it's after Logan graduates and goes away to London and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, no, they're there at the tail end, but they were an excellent addition. Like,
I mean, Kristen Ritter, who played Lucy, makes
right.
everything better. Like, honestly, producers, if you don't know what to do in a show, just add Kristen Ritter.
I can get behind that too. And I mean, we needed somebody to come in because Rory wasn't going to be spending as much time with the Life and Death Brigade because Logan was gone and also was supposed to be growing past the Life and Death Brigade with like a couple of stumbles back into it, right? But like, I'm really glad that they were like, here, make some new like lady friends to fill that gap. I thought it was like a really good move. I liked their characters a lot. I love how she has like a falling out with them and manages to heal it in like a very like signature Rory kind of way, right? Where I like that Richard helps her figure it out how, like, you know, I'm just gonna jump right into the big conflict where so Marty reappears.
Ew, Marty.
Marty. Which, you know, also, I'm kind of glad he came back to get some closure on it because the show has this bad habit of ending relationships by just never mentioning them again. And it, like, not that they were in a dating relationship, but I mean, like, sometimes a character just poofs. And that was Marty. Like, he was like, no, I like you and I'll pay you back on Monday or whatever day of the week he said he was going to pay her back for the Chinese food that they ate with Logan and Logan's friends. And then he just poofs, which maybe he actually did. Maybe he like paid her back and she never ran into him again. But I was under the impression that he lived a couple floors above her and that they had, I know they had classes together their first year. I was under the impression that they had classes together their second year. They studied together. Not that that means anything.
Right.
So Marty comes back. Marty's all like, don't tell Lucy we know each other. Stupid. Gross, Marty.
One of those unnecessary lies. And it was so unnecessary. I'm saying unnecessary again, but it was. And he felt awkward because he had pined for Rory, even though Rory showed no interest in him whatsoever. She made it very clear that when he first started, like, she never showed interest in him. Also, can we talk about for a second? I'm going to complain about Marty again. So when he first meets her and like, well, not like first, but so she gives him her robe because he's naked in the hallway and he's embarrassed by that. And then he wants to approach her, but he just waits until she comes downstairs in pajamas, which he thinks is sufficiently embarrassing that he can approach her because she looks bad. And he approaches her and mentions that. That's gross. He's just a gross person. Like, and he's one of those guys who thinks he's such a nice guy and thinks he's putting nice guy coins in until sex falls out.
Yeah. Although I do love that her response to that, I mean, she was fazed by it. She tells her mom later that she was embarrassed, but I like that she holds her ground to him and was just like, this is not as embarrassing as being completely naked in the hallway. Like,
right.
So.
But also, like, rude.
Yeah.
Rude.
Very rude. So, whatever. Also, I get how, like, it was annoying to Rory that Lucy and Olivia call everyone boyfriend and fry guy and stuff like that. I think actually that was a kind of a cute way to build up to how this awkward scenario with Marty could have happened in the first place. Like, I think that's just a cute quirk that they have between them. It takes me back a little bit to like my middle school days when I had my first cell phone and everybody was in my contacts under a nickname. My dad's phone number has moved over from so many phones that it's still in there as Papa San. And I have just never changed it. Like, it just, they're fun, you know? They remind me of times I had fun. And they remind Rory how to have fun. Like, even Paris points out, right? Where she's like, maybe you should go hang out with your Girls Gone Wild friends. And Rory's like, your take on Lucy and Olivia is so incorrect.
But they're lighthearted, and Rory doesn't have enough of that, especially when she's living with Paris. Because no, Paris is not fun. Paris is intense.
Yeah, and we love Paris. If you haven't heard any of our previous episodes about Paris and you like Paris or you hate Paris and really want to disagree with us, go listen to those. But getting back into like the conflict of it with Lucy and Olivia and everything. So when Lucy finds out that Rory and Marty both lied to her and she feels betrayed and like that they hid that they used to be friends and pretended they didn't know each other, which would be weird. I would feel a kind of way about that too. I don't think Lucy was being ridiculous at all. And I like that they don't drag it out for too long. Like, Rory's really bothered by it. She goes to Richard for help. Richard is like, well, anybody who knows you wouldn't hurt somebody on purpose, which even though we rag on Rory's decisions, especially in later seasons a lot, it's still true that she's not like a malicious person who just like, you know,
a lot of times she doesn't think about her actions. In this case, she wasn't really given a choice. He really took, he put her in an unwinnable position. But a lot of times she just acts without thinking about how it's going to affect people. But no, she's not a malicious person for the most part.
Right. And I like how some of the stuff for this also happens in one of my favorite episodes ever, which is Secret Santa's Santa's secret stuff, which is followed by To Whom It May Concern, where Luke writes the letter, or Lorelai writes the letter for Luke's custody case. It's just beautiful.
I love that.
We'll talk more about that in another episode, about why those are my two favorite episodes back to back going into each other. But like Lorelai writing that letter and the conversation she had with Richard all coming together, it's just all tying together different ways that Rory has grown and ways that she's relying without being like too self-centered about it on the people around her. And then she writes Lucy this letter. And then when she's not sure if Lucy's had time to read it or if she's going to respond to it or not, Paris gets a chance to come in and be like, hey, you're really missing out on a great friend like Rory. It just ties so many things together in a somewhat relatable conflict, right? Because it just wouldn't be fun if Lucy and Olivia had gotten tacked on and there had never been any conflict.
Right.
But they don't drag it out too long, and the way they resolve it draws so many characters around Rory into it, where you see like this is the way she is socially deciding to finish out college, is like with a support system, and I love it. I love it.
Me too. Also, I love that it's not a romantic love triangle drama. Like, yes, there's sort of the romantic angle and that Marty had a thing for her, but it's not a love triangle. It's not anything. Also, I love that Lucy decides, she's like, forget this guy. I'm better off without him. Sisterhood forever.
Right. I also love that Olivia has Lucy's back 100%. Like Rory shows up and has her puppy dog eyes that everybody talks about and is like, could I just talk to? And Olivia's like, no, she doesn't want to talk to you right now. And I don't either. And closes the door. Like,
yes.
Because you know what? They both deserved some time and space. Lucy and Olivia did. Like, for sure.
Yes,
like they put some boundaries in place. It was just great to see.
And I think it was important that so Rory is often surrounded by people who know, or people at college who know what they want to be when they grow up. I mean, aside from Logan and his people, but like the girls she associates with are all very driven, and Rory herself, she struggles, but she's very driven. She knows she's very single-minded. Like, this is what I'm going to be. And I like that Lucy and Olivia kind of are opposite that, where they admit that they don't have it all figured out, and that's okay.
And it comforts Rory too, because when she doesn't get the fellowship that she thought she was kind of a shoo-in for, like, they're there to sort of pick her up. And again, that's also, she like goes and dyes her hair and hangs out with her girlfriends for a weekend. And that's such a healthier way to deal with a huge disappointment than stealing a yacht with your boyfriend, which is what she did the previous season, right? Like,
yes.
Lucy and Olivia were exactly what Rory needed and exactly what the viewer needed to see Rory, like, finish growing up some there at the end of the show. Like, it's so great. But yeah, no, almost everybody, except for the Life and Death Brigade people, which Logan knew what he was going to do. He just didn't want to, right?
Which is a little sad that Logan didn't really have a choice. I feel like, I don't know. That's a whole other episode, but.
Right. But like, Richard had known since he was 10 years old that he wanted to work in a powerful firm at a job that involved travel, blah, blah, blah. Like, he talks about it the first time he meets Dean. Emily knew that she wanted to study history because that's what she liked, and that she was going to marry probably a Yale man, but she was going to marry an Ivy League man and be a wife. Lorelai has been dreaming of opening her own inn since Rory was really little. She brings it up all the time. She's like, this has been my dream for, well, look how big my daughter is, that long. Like,
yep.
Paris can't decide between being a lawyer or a doctor, but she wants to be one or the other and has been prepping hardcore as if she could somehow do both right up until the last minute. Like, yeah, no, Lucy and Olivia are a nice contrast to that, because Rory has had a lot of doubts about her career in later parts of the season after being as like single-minded as everybody else in her life. So,
and that's healthy. It's so healthy for Rory's age. Like, most Most people Rory's age do not have it all figured out. And
Yeah.
that's normal. It's healthy. Also, I feel like we were kind of robbed because Lucy and Olivia should have had the chance to meet Madeline and Louise and party with them. They would have loved each other.
Oh my gosh, they would have. Like, it was kind of like finally having another Madeline and Louise, but like a more grown up, grounded version
Mhm.
of Madeline and Louise. Maybe we should do a Madeline and Louise episode entirely. Let us know in the comments if you want a
Yes.
Madeline and Louise episode, or message us somewhere if you're listening on a platform that doesn't have a comment feature. But
Yes, please. I'm down for a Madeline and Louise episode. Also, if we get any more reboots, I would like Madeline and Louise and Lucy and Olivia like touring around the country and just having misadventures. Give me
right.
that.
Yeah. I don't know. I love their chemistry so much. There's a scene where they're hanging out in Lucy and Olivia's dorm room, and Olivia's making a mobile for her little nephew or niece or whoever. I think it's a nephew. I don't know. A baby in the family. And she's like, it's turning out really cool though. So I think I'm just going to keep it and buy him some socks. And Rory's like, well, why don't you make him a mobile out of socks? And Lucy and Olivia are like, oh, that's so brilliant. Like they have fun together. They've like had a back and forth, but it's not the same sort of nonstop like pop culture references that she has with her mom. And it's
Mhm.
not like as intense as with her grandparents or Paris, where everything has to be like high intellectualism all the time. Like,
Agreed. It's just
they,
fun.
yeah, they just reminded Rory how to have fun again. And I love that. I have fun watching it happen on screen. They're like one of my favorite parts of the last season. So
Last season is not great, but it has some gems in there. Like there are certain things about the last season that I appreciate.
I actually really like, given how much I dislike season 6, I really like the way season 7 sort of course corrects.
Yes.
It's, I mean, it's just, it does a lot of good points of sort of wrapping up on things that happened also. Like, I've talked about
Right.
how we see a lot of summaries on what Lorelai's issues really were with building relationships around her. And I like Logan leaving his father's company. I like a lot of things
Me
that
too.
happen in season 7. And again, like 2 of my all-time favorite episodes are Santa's Secret Stuff and To Whom It May Concern. Like, so
Yeah. So that's Lucy and Olivia. Do you have any further thoughts?
you know, um no, I think that about sums it up. I mean, it's it's always nice to have a happy rant, but they also do tend to
I
be a little
agree.
shorter, I'm noticing.
I mean, that's okay. That's okay. I feel like our last few episodes were kind of monsters, so it's good to have some shorter ones. So, you all let us know what you thought of Lucy and Olivia, and let us know if you want Madeline and Louise to be one of our future episodes. And if you like our podcast and you want to support us and all the other shows on the Cereal Box Network, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod and slide us some of your spare change. Otherwise, we will see you next episode for our next rant. Thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully you have a magical Stars Hollow day.
Bye.
Bye.